All right, welcome back. So today is Thanksgiving. Time for turkey, ham, and some stuffing for our bellies. Want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving out there. Love that everybody's still supporting the channel and that you're loving the XRT videos. Today, for Thanksgiving, we are adding some POWAH. So this is a $300 kit. I think it's perfect. It's a Max 6 combo. Let's see. It's the Easy Run Max 6 1100 kV black. There's your part number, 38010802. So it's a pretty low kV motor, but I feel with the weight of this, it might need it. But what we're going to do is I think we're going to throw in the Max 6. I'm going to take a look at the kV on this motor. I just don't think we need more kV. I want to take a look at this motor. This is a little fat boy right here. So I'll show you. Look at this little short stubby fat boy right here. This is like a Coke can, but a mini. Little fat boy. This thing's going to make all the torques, all the horsepurs, and it looks like it does have possibly a sensor wire. I mean, oh, that's just temperature. It's not sensor. So it does have a plug in the back for just temperature. It'd be nice if it was censored, but with such low kV, and there's no like magnet force behind this, like a TP motor. A TP motor, you try to turn this, and you'll darn near break your fingers trying to hang on to it, trying to get it to turn. It's more like clack, 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 clack. This one, nice and easy to turn. So, I think it's going to give us, you know, all the RPM that we'll need. I don't know if it's drilled for both patterns, and I don't know if it'll accept on this mount. So, I do have an upgraded X-Max mount, but I believe it's too tall for this. It might be. But we'll take a look at it. As you hear, batteries are charging up. I'm very hopeful here. So we're going to go ahead and throw this motor back in here for now. I am going to mock it up and see if this motor does fit onto that mount, or if my IFO mount will work, or FSO, or something O. So we're going to put this box off to the side with the motor in it. Running out of room on my bench. Had this combo for a little while now, but we were having so many like upper bulkhead problems and bearing problems that it just wasn't the time to add power. I'd like to get them back in better shape before we're just going to throw more power at it. Just imagine if I would have thrown more power at it with a bearing frozen. That lower bulkhead would have been done. That bearing would have ate into that faster than you're going to eat into your turkey leg. But let's take a look at this little tiny, these little Max 6s do, I think, awesome for the weight of this, 20 pounds and under. I'll read the manual. I think these are right around 20 pounds. They could be a little more. Got the little shrink tubing stuff so we can solder together with the zippy ties. Specifications, that's what I'm looking for. God dang, look at this. I don't think I've opened up one of these ever. Now this is some toilet material right here. Let's see, running mode. So this gives you your programming chart. I want specifications right here. Size and weight. 70 liters by 56 W by 46.5. I'm gonna have to look up the weight on this thing. It normally gives you a weight on what RC it should go into, but I'll look that up online. I think it's easier to look it up online. I know Hobby Lane really recommends a lot of, like, you know, really look into that weight. But I've used these a lot. I have seen people have been putting in XLX2s and Max 5s into these things already. But that's just not me. It's a plastic RC. I think if you're doing speed runs or something like that, you know, an XLX2 is perfect. I don't feel throwing in an expensive ESC into this thing that you're just going to bash around and possibly break. Especially those fan blades on top of the ESC, they love to break. I just don't feel it's worth it. The Max 6 does awesome. So, but this, you know, the size of their 8S one, to me, is almost the size of a Max 5, you know what I mean? So, we did shrink tube these connectors. So, I'm going to have to cut off the shrink tubing. We are going to have to open up the receiver box. Try to leave the screws in it. Because this RC, I'm really tired of looking for what screw goes where. Oh, the antenna wire. Don't really need a handle for those. There we go. A lot of Vaseline up in there. Now we'll get this ESC unbolted. There we go. Channel number 2. You can see all the sand trying to get in there, but the Vaseline was holding it out. So good ESC. I don't mind that ESC either. Got a little acetone. You can use alcohol. I just don't have any right now. And as you see, Max 6 is going to fit right in there. And I'm probably going to run a strap from this bolt to that bolt. All I want to do is get some sort of size. Straight scissors works better. So once you cut it, all you're going to do is flip it over, lock it in, and then we're going to trim it again like that. A little more acetone on the back side. This dual lock works really good, but the surface does have to be clean. It's really an easy install. These fans tend to break too. There's a little switch. We'll get that out of the way for now. put our wire in here. Just like it was. Leave a little slop in case the ESC comes loose. You don't want it pulling on that wire. Roll that stuff up, tuck it down in there. Even easier to work on than an X-Max, honestly, because it doesn't have that upper brace that's blocking everything. But you also don't have something to secure it, you know what I mean? So, yeah, we had a little more. You guys know how I feel about the antenna. I know I was having a little bit of like range, lacking of range, but that's because all the antennas are tucked inside these boxes lately. Arma was doing the same thing. Antenna tube, so we can make the antenna stick out a little bit. Get our little grub retaining screw back in there. There we go. And we'll have to solder on some ends. And then I think the last time I put this switch over here. Make it secure a little faster, dry a little quicker. And then we'll plug them in the same way. Hopefully we don't have to switch them around. But that's it for the install. I'm going to get the soldering thing heated up. We're going to put some battery ends on it. We'll be right back. Alright, so we're heating up the soldering iron. We're going to get the solder out, the flux out. We're going to solder it up here. Here's the old ESC. I'm going to leave these terminals on it. We got some new ones. So the one that slips over the other one, that's the side we need to solder. So I do plug them on that way, like that, so I know which side to solder. Here's what I use for a jumper. So we need to go positive to negative, and I'm going to leave this jumper a little long because this RC is a little wide. Where this was way too short, this jumper. See how short that one was? It was creating a problem. So we're going to just strip it back a little bit. Same with the other side. And then you want these caps to snap on where you're soldering it, so they need to face each other like that. So that this is the part that'll snap onto that, this is the part that snaps onto that. You don't have to put it on now, you can solder the first one. So one's going to be on the flat side, one's going to be on the round side. Positive and negative is what I call it. So we let it sit like this. Pull out some solder. I show this a lot, but I use 0.03 1-inch diameter, 1 pound, 6040 rosin core high grade. So get yourself some high grade solder. Another thing you can do is flux. You can always dip the end of the wire into it, so there's some in the wire. The reason you don't want it frayed is because it will eventually, it could touch the terminal next to it. So we have plenty of solder. See if our iron's ready. Tin the wire. This will take a lot of heat, so make sure you have a good soldering gun for these connectors. What I'm going to try to do is heat up the wire first. Get some solder into the wire. Now, you can solder the wire not on the connector, but I fill the connector first. Well, not the connector. I fill the wire first. What you want to do is the tip to touch the edge. So you want it to touch the wire and the edge of the connector. Start sucking this solder in. The flux is really going to give it a good bond. Don't add too much, because if you add too much solder, it'll drip on the backside, and then you'll start having trouble putting these caps right here on. The whole reason I have this plugged in is so that terminal doesn't bend. So we're just let it sit for a minute. When you see it start to suck in, that's when you know it's ready. Should be plenty of solder. Oh, you see how it just sucked down? I'll let it heat up a little bit. While it's heating up, I'm going to grab a pair of pliers because I'm going to want to hold this straight. There we go. My soldering gun's on max heat right now. We're going to let it cool for a second. Should be good. So this was on the round side. The next one is going to be on the flat side. So one's positive, one negative. At this point, I don't know which is which, but it doesn't matter. I know I'm soldering them opposite. So this is on one side. Make sure no solder fell out the backside on either of them. So our jumper's good. So next, negative is the round side. You see how it's round? So that's your negative. Your positive is going to go to the flat side. So it's positive, flat side, negative, round side. And then we're going to go ahead, while it's a little warm, it together. Pre-tin it, both sides. Snap it on, and we're going to go ahead and pull out the sides we don't need. See, male, male, and now we have plenty to reach to both batteries, to both banks. There we go. So that's how you change out the ESC. Now we have more power. I'm going to have to program this ESC and up the punch control and all that other stuff. I should have a programming card that works for that. I'll show you guys in the next video. But like, comment, subscribe. Went ahead and got the ESC swapped out. So now we should have more power, nice and secure. And I might run a strap from this screw over to this one with like a zip tie or something like that, or even a wire hanger that I'll wrap around the screw on each side. Baling wire, something of that sort, just so if we have a hard roof landing, this doesn't pop off the Sherlock, because it does happen. But this should be good enough. If it does continue to pop off, I'll remove the Sherlock and I'll just put some right stuff or some silicone, some black silicone, and just silicone it to the chassis. That's something you can still remove, but it holds really strong. But there we go. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll catch you guys on my next video. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Max 6 installed.